Hi, Vivian. What can you tell us about your background and your inspiration to become an actress and a director, please?
It's a little unusual to be acting and directing in the same film, although I think it's becoming more common now. But I started my career as an actor. I studied acting at University of Southern California in Los Angeles, and basically been acting professionally for over 15 years. And I think that's common with a lot of actors, where you start to get frustrated at a certain point in your career if you feel like the roles that you are auditioning for or being offered aren't that exciting, or they're just not using, you feel like they're not using all of your capabilities, or they're not stretching you. So the transition actually happened from acting to writing first, and then writing to directing, which I think is natural.
Yes. In a few words, how can you describe this movie?
Scrap is an independent drama about a brother and sister named Ben and Beth, and they are both keeping secrets from each other. Beth has been fired recently and is living in her car, and Ben and his wife Stacy are struggling with fertility issues and going through IVF.
Can you explain us the main reason of this title?
Scrap, I just enjoyed the multiple definitions.
Yes.
I liked the verb to scrap, to battle, to fight. The characters are all fighting each other a little bit. And then I also liked, as a noun, the idea of table scraps. Right? Like the last little piece of something that's left behind. These characters are all fighting for their dignity and to maintain their pride. And I just kept thinking, this has to be it. But it's a little bit of an unusual title.
The city of Los Angeles occupies an important place in your film. It begins as a focus on the tourist spots before discovering your character Beth, who lives in the other side of the American dream. Can you tell us about your vision of this beautiful city and its impact on your writings?
From the very first draft, we were always going to start with these sort of dreamy, aspirational images of Los Angeles. And the idea was that in the beginning of the film, my character Beth is still living a delusion. She's fallen in love with not the real city, but an idea of the city and an idea of the American dream and what she would have for herself, right? And that was going to be the perfect house, the perfect car, the perfect spouse, and she wanted everything to be this certain way. And so those images really reflect that. And so it's almost like she's dreaming about that still.
Yes.
And then we see her wake up, and those are the images that she has in her head.
Before this movie, there is a short movie that you have written and directed by Lana with also the actor Anthony Rapp. What can you tell us about the trigger that led you to develop this short film into a big film?
I have been working on this for so long. I think I started working on it in 2016. And then a couple years later, I decided, okay, so we were having a really hard time getting money to make the feature, so we decided to shoot a short proof of concept for the feature. And so but I wasn't quite sure yet if I was going to direct or not. And so we hired a director to do the short, and she did a great job with it. But in making the short, I realized how important the story was to me. And I realized that if I was going to make it a feature, I really needed to direct it myself, because I just had such a strong point of view on the story. So, so that was sort of the transition.
What can you tell us about your collaboration of this film with Lana, Parrilla, and Anthony Rapp on this movie?
I love them both so much. Lana and Anthony are incredible actors, and they both have had really long careers. So it was really wonderful because I learned a lot from them as an actor, and then it was a pleasure to direct them because they both are they take preparation very seriously, which is important to me. I don't think, to a certain extent, you're not going to. My feeling is that you don't discover a scene on the day. You don't just show up and see what happens. I mean, you sort of do, but you have to do a lot of preparation as an actor, and they both prepared really, really thoroughly. So they came with all of these thoughts and ideas, and they both created these inner worlds for themselves for those two characters. So I was so lucky to work with them.
Is there an autobiographical part in this writing of your script, and what do you have in common with your character?
None of it is, thank God, none of it's autobiographical. Thank good. Well, you know, the only thing I would say that is maybe inspired a little bit is that I have a sister and we're very close.
Okay.
So I've always been interested in films that depict very strong sibling relationships. Like You Can Count on Me, or The Savages with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Laura Linney. And I always wanted to do a movie about two siblings, but I thought because I don't have a brother, maybe it would be a little more interesting to do it about a brother and sister.
Which scene was the most difficult to shoot and why?
Oh, gosh. That's a great question.
Thank you.
What scene was the most difficult? It might have been the roller skating rink, only because that was those were night shoots. We were there for 2 nights.
Okay.
So, you know, when you're working a night shoot, you're starting sometimes at like 8 o'clock at night, and then you're going until dawn. So I think, sometimes it's just hard to focus at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So.